What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with another video guide and playthrough for the next part of Dark Dimension 3 here. If you guys have watched my previous videos, I have recently completed up to Node 4, finally awaiting for my Global Start Challenge, and as of today, just as a personal tracker, you guys, hitting the achievements here, you can see that my login days is 384. So I did start Dark Dimension 3 actually a few days ago. Fortunately, my mixture of my Cosmic and Global has gotten me through a lot of these nodes, and fortunately, it's definitely been difficult with a lot of attempts, but I've been able to unlock them with very minimal attempts. So I mean, now we are ready to enter Global, and I'm going to show you guys quickly here my roster I'm planning to bring in. It's going to be Emma Frost. I've utilized her already in the previous 4. Has been absolutely unbelievable in terms of value, stripping away pauses, applying that slow, and really being able to provide support for our team. Next, it's going to be Mr. Sinister here, being able to utilize his clones. Really, he's going to be healing, providing support for Emma Frost, but using him in Global in immense value, especially later on if you guys are looking to build into Dark Dimension 4. I did just recently unlock Ghost today, so that's what really helped me back the day before when I finished Node 4. But with now Ghost being my arsenal, finally got her with the Quantum mini uniques here ready to go. Now you can see I do need to build her up. I'm going to definitely look for more shards in the War Store, so fortunately she is farmable, but planning to bring her in. Last but not least, it's going to be Black Widow here, and I just recently unlocked her for the level 75 as well. So with that being said, you guys, let's dive right into the gameplay and the attempts for unlocking the next node here, being Node 5. So starting off here, you guys, just keep in mind as well, Node 5 is known to be quite easier. It's just really being able to kind of shoulder the damage at the beginning here, especially when you can see that we're up against quite a few characters. So following Dutch Rudder's guide, once again, I'm going to put the link in the description for you guys below, but I'm using this to kind of navigate in terms of which characters to fall into each wave as I progress. And it does say that we are able to take down 5 enemies before the next wave, so keep that in mind. You're going to find that the really annoying thing about this node is that I find Emma Frost really essential because not only she can be able to cleanse for us, but taking away those positive buffs from them and really giving us that a chance to attack, especially when they're taunting and whatnot. So first and foremost, you know, we got to be mindful of Namor. He does do quite a bit of damage. I've never been a fan of his damage, so anytime we're up against him, I do try to take him down. But you do see we're also up against a mercenary lieutenant, and mercenary lieutenant provides speed up as well as energy to his team. So I mean, he's really crucial to take him down as soon as possible. So you're gonna see here at the beginning, he is gonna be the first one I do try to target and use Emma Frost's blind and extra DPS with her ultimate there. And we do want to take him down just as soon as possible because the less turns they get, the better for our situation. As for the clone, I do recommend actually cloning a Mr. Sinister here, as you just saw I did. Reason being is because of the fact that we're going to be able to clone another character, and we really do want to amass an army if that's possible here, just to build up as many targets as we can. Additionally, they can take damage as well. So any instances like this, when I'm really being aggressive and trying to take down the targets, you know, the beautiful thing about me having Ghost now is that, you know, with her ultimate, she's actually able to extend all the conditions on all the enemies. And additionally, it does take a percentage of health, so keep that in mind. I could have just extended the stun and blind on Lieutenant, but instead I'm gonna just bide my time because I want to see more conditions here in terms of what I can put on these enemies. Now, fast forwarding here for you guys for the sake of time, I did actually use the second Mr. Sinister to clone Loki. Reason being is because Loki provides extra damage in terms of having a defense down. Additionally, I love Loki because he can actually create illusions for us, and that's going to help us soak damage. So you're going to see there that finally Merc Lieutenant is taken down right now. And continually, what you want to do for this wave, you guys, you want to keep an eye on being able to control both Pyro as well as Namor, because out of those two, they do the most damage. We also have to be mindful in this first wave because we don't want their Mr. Sinister to stay alive too long, just because of the fact that he can also clone, right? So but for me personally, I actually went ahead and started attacking the high damage dealers because Mr. Sinister can clone, but fortunately he doesn't do a lot of damage, and he does provide the actual heals and whatnot, so he's tankier as well. So in my opinion, I think it's better to just take down the high damage targets first and then proceed with taking down Mr. Sinister before the next wave. So you'll see me doing that here. I put my damage and burst on Namor. That takes him down. He's the second to go down. And keep in mind, the next wave spawns at 16 enemies, so we can still actually kill 3 more before the next wave. And once again, just keep an eye on controlling the high damage dealers. That includes Pyro, potentially Mr. Sinister's clones. Just take them out whenever he does clone. But the other thing to keep in mind is obviously the Strife having taunt. That is a little bit annoying as well, so we do have to worry about that later. But fortunately, he's not as powerful as the previous nodes that we did face up against Strife. There we go, and as you can see here, I'm just finishing off Pyro here. My Loki and my Mr. Sinisters are still alive, and as you can see, I had a chance to clone another Mr. Sinister, so doesn't matter if you guys want to take him out first, but I mean, personally, I would leave him on board. That way you can actually keep cloning the Mr. Sinister, and that's just going to create more opportunities for us. And we have extra Mr. Sinisters alive as well. Then we can just have options later. And once they go down, we can fill up that place with another clone. So I do like this node that they actually provided us with the Mr. Sinister, because that really is kind of a deal breaker here for this node. And I believe it's going to give a lot of players the edge, especially if you have Mr. Sinister on your team attempting these. And not enough good things can be said about Mr. Sinister and his cloning abilities, but I really strongly believe that makes him a very formidable and future-proof character because of that unique ability in the game. With that being said here, you know, we can't take down 2 more, so I did take down Mystique, and that only leaves us now with these 5, and you know which one we have to take down. It's got to be Mr. Sinister, because once again, as I touched on earlier, we just can't let him stay afloat because of his clones, and there's actually another Mr. Sinister in a later wave, so that's why it's extremely crucial to take him down. I know some players have opted to actually go ahead and take down Loki, but personally, Loki, his initial burst is all he's got, and after that, it's actually pretty straightforward. So I would personally leave Loki on the board if you guys have the defense up like I do all the time. Additionally, with all our Mr. Sinisters, you know, the nice benefit is we have a lot of healing now, and with being mutants, that we get a lot of benefits from each other because of that. Finally, you do see that we actually do go ahead now and try to weaken Mr. Sinister here. And you see that my last clone is going to be Strife. And Strife's going to add value to our overall roster now because he's going to really synergize with our Mr. Sinisters. And additionally, he's going to protect them with his taunt. So we're going to go ahead and finish off Mr. Sinister here. And because it's going to be 16 out of 21 enemies left, that is and will prompt the next wave here. And in this wave, you guys, it's going to be a Namor, a Scarlet Witch, a Hand Sentry, as well as a Magneto. So I mean, if you didn't want to max out your clones, you could have probably just waited so that you can actually clone a Magneto. I love having Magnetos because of the fact that he can blind. But with that being said, the target in this wave that we want to actually take down is going to be, well, there's a couple key targets actually. Hand Sentry is going to be my priority just because of the fact that he has the stealth. It's going to be really annoying if he keeps shrouding his allies. So we do want to take him down first. And keep in mind, once again, following Dutch Rudder's guide, this is such a clutch glide. I can't stress that enough, you guys. Just being able to have a visual reference of what's coming and who's coming. We are able to actually take down 4 enemies, leaving the next wave spawning at 12. So keep that in mind. You can kind of determine right away, like out of this cluster, you know, who the 4 enemies will likely be, right? One of them is going to be Sentry. I already told you guys how I don't like Namor. You know, and just continuing with that kind of perspective kind of gives you insight in terms of what to expect, and having that plan will be a great plan for success. So that's definitely what I recommend. I think sometimes maybe players attempting Dark Dimension 3 is just YOLOing it and trying to do as best as they could in the initial wave. But if you have logic and strategy and know what's coming, honestly, it can be really, really procedural, and that kind of strategy is really what is going to be able to set success from failure when you're attempting these Dark Dimension nodes. So you can see here that I am going to go ahead then and just try and finish off Sentry here. Finishing him off. As I touched on earlier, I'm really not a big fan of Namor, so, you know, sorry Namor, but I got a bias towards you from previous nodes and you just being really unstoppable. I'm going to actually go ahead and take him down as my next target here. Just to take out that DPS ensures that we have more overall increased survivability. And there we go. With Namor down, we are able to take down 2 more targets. And in my opinion, because my board's already full, if you guys don't have a full roster here in terms of clones, I do recommend cloning Magneto. If I could go back, I probably would have cloned Magneto just to kind of have a little bit of diversity. But Magneto and Scarlet Witch will be my 2 targets, just because of the fact of what they bring to the team. Scarlet Witch being able to heal, as well as Magneto being able to blind our enemies. And there we go. Just a future reference too, as you guys just saw, I do like to try to stun as much as I can with Black Widow because she's getting so much speed up and bonus. So I try to use her to stun, especially on high impact targets such as Scarlet Witch or Loki, just to prevent them from moving, and additionally increases our overall survivability. But I think this node is really straightforward, and if you guys have Mr. Sinister, it's probably going to be a really big cakewalk for you all. So I don't hear a lot of players having issues with this, but hopefully this video is able to kind of give you guys some insight at least. And unfortunately, as you can see here, not who I was actually going for, unfortunately. It was a misclick, but that's quite alright. We wanted to take down Scarlet Witch because of the fact that she heals, but she's quite weak enough, and we did take down Loki. With that being said, 12 enemies left. That does actually prompt the next wave, being Mystique, Sabretooth, another Mr. Sinister, as well as Kree Noble. And with this wave, once again, we do have quite a few targets that are weaker already, so just keep that in mind. It's kind of up to you guys, but priority target, definitely Mr. Sinister has to go down. But whether or not he has to go down as soon as possible, that's up to your discretion. Personally, seeing from this list, I'm going to go ahead and finish off Scarlet Witch and the weaker guys before I attempt the next here. And keep in mind as well, for this next wave, we are able to take down 4 more targets before the last wave spawns at 8 enemies remaining. With that burst, that does take down one of their strifes. And we are going to go ahead and just kind of finish off some of these weaker guys. Just get them off their board, just because they're in the way right now. And there we go. At 9 out of 21 enemies left, this is exactly where I want to be. I've taken down the weaker targets as well. And last but not least, as I mentioned earlier, I am going to go ahead and finish off Mr. Sinister, which will then prompt our last wave here. And that last wave is going to consist of 2 strifes, a Loki, and once again, another Merc Lieutenant. As you guys can see here. And with that being said, I love the last wave here because of the fact that we don't have to think about the next waves anymore. We know this is as good as it gets for the targets here. And just keep in mind as well, Merc Lieutenant, again, provides a lot of speed up and buffs for his team. So we do want to finish him off, but keep in mind too, it's going to be dependent on your situation when you get to this last wave. I see my Sabretooth over there is quite weak as well, so he's an easy target to finish off. But keep in mind, once again, my priority target is going to be Merc Lieutenant, and that's who I would recommend from the get-go as well. There we go. And once again, now we can go ahead and just finish off some targets here. Keep in mind, once again, I do like to activate Black Widow's stun just to kind of slow, but also apply additional bleeding and damage. Really good for us. You can see we still have that original team at this wave now with the 4 Mr. Sinisters as well as the Strife. So and very good on our team, and as well as the Loki. Sorry, I forgot about Loki, just hidden there. But a great team to copy if you guys can follow along here. And just keep in mind as well, we're just gonna go ahead then. Now at this point, it's really just focusing who can do high damage here. Out of this cluster, it's gonna be both Mystique and Loki because they have bursts. Go ahead here, fast forwarding, just finishing off Mystique here. And with that being said, unfortunately there are clones with Loki, so that's another key reason why we should take him down. Just try to get them out of the way here. And for me, the Strife was weaker on my side, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish him off here. And then we can go ahead and resume taking down those clones as well as Loki. And another key important thing here too, as you guys are progressing to these last wave and getting towards completion, keep in mind you want to try to hold back when using your abilities such as Mr. Sinister's healing and ultimate, especially Mr. Sinister, having high cooldowns for his energy. Just keep in mind because this transfers over to the next node, and where you are right now with your energy, it's really key to kind of be preemptive and planning ahead, because you can definitely basic these guys at this point because of how beneficial our team has from all the extra clones. Our Mr. Sinister clones as well as Strife and Loki can get the job done, while our regular characters, our main characters, are just doing basics to preserve their energy and not using any of the abilities. There we go, and we're just gonna go ahead and now finish off Loki. And at this point, you guys, I'm sure you've already noticed by now, but with these three here, a Noble, Strife, as well as Sabretooth, you're not gonna have an issue here. So this is gonna conclude my my playthrough here, just because of the fact that at this point you should be well on your way to finishing this wave, especially when it's down to these last three. So like I said earlier, Note 5, very reasonable. Can definitely be done with 4 characters, as you just saw here. I would say, just overall review, the big pieces are definitely Mr. Sinister and Emma Frost, because of the fact that you know, we want to take away their positives. We want to be able to keep cloning a massive army, as you saw. And in my opinion, never too late to start building up Mr. Sinister in preparation for him. Unfortunately, he's in the war store for the credits, but you know, he's a character that's really, I strongly believe he's future-proof. Dark Dimension 4, I've already seen so many players using him, and him being the actual true MVP in Dark Dimension 4. He's you know, honestly, he has the similar pseudo legendary kind of impact. That's how big he is in any kind of team setting, right? He can be adapted to every situation, and whether you need damage or extra support, he's your guy. So that's really key here. So I hope you guys are able to get a chance to actually build him up, get him in preparation, because I definitely think he's a key piece, especially when you only have 4 characters coming in, or maybe even 3. The fact that he can actually change the game in terms of being able to increase your party size as well as your allies that you have. And with that being said, you guys, that is the wrap for the Note 5 here with the 4 characters mentioned. Personally, I don't think Ghost and Black Widow is like a must-have, but like they worked out in the sense that, you know, Black Widow's skill as well as Ghost being a tech character all kind of worked out for my materials, and I know they're going to add immense value later on when I do bring them to Dark Dimension 4, which is light years away from me right now, but there you guys have it. That is the one-shot attempt there for Note 5. Looking to bring in the same roster for these next few notes here, but as always, do appreciate you guys checking out my videos and supporting the channel, and I will keep posting my videos as I progress. So thank you, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.